Hello, good morning grade 9. Last week, pinag-aralan natin yung life and music ni Peter Ilyich Tchaikovsky. So, sino nga ba si Peter Ilyich Tchaikovsky? Siya yung composer, one of the composer of program music. So, yung program music is an instrumental composition that conveys images or scenes to tell a short story without text or lyrics. It entices the imagination of the listener. So, si Peter Ilyich Tchaikovsky ay nakilala sa composition niya, especially sa ballet music. Tapos, he died sa sakit na cholera. Yun yung sakit na nakukuha sa maruming tubig. So, ngayon naman, class, aaralin naman natin yung life and music ni Camille Saens, which is composer din ng program music, and nasa music pa rin tayo ng romantic period class. So, ito yung 10 interesting Camille Saens facts. So, number 1, he was supported by Liszt. By the time he had joined the Conservatoire de Paris, Saens has already started becoming a recognized name in the French musical circles. So si Franz Liszt, siya yung yung nasa violin and string music. It is because of his immense talent that he was able to meet Franz Liszt, who praised him often and referred to Saens as the greatest organ player alive. So silang dalawa ni Franz Liszt yung mga musical genius nung panahon nila, nung era nila. He was extremely diverse. Camille Saint-Saëns was something of an incongruity among French composers of his time. Although he was extremely talented at playing the organ and the piano, he never really settled for a specific instrument or a genre. Instead, he was all over the musical scene and he wrote for practically all genres, including symphonies, opera, concertos, sacred and secular choral songs, chamber music, as well as solo piano pieces. So yan yung picture ni Camille Saint-Saëns. Even though he did not pioneer any movements in the Romantic period, he did help to breathe alive into some forgotten dance forms such as gavotte and bourrée. In total, he composed over 300 original works. In addition to being a successful writer and poet, Camille Saint-Saëns really could do it all. He was a musical prodigy. Saint-Saëns was born in 1835 in France. His father passed away only 3 months after his birth, and he was raised by his mother and his great-aunt, Charlotte, who introduced him to the piano at the age of 2. By the time he was 4, he had already written his first composition in 1839. He also learned how to read by the time he was 3 and could speak fluent Latin by age 7. So, si Saint-Saëns ay musical genius. At the early age is nakapag-compose na kagad siya. Marie Laure Truffaut and Tragedy. The years between 1870 and 1875 were one of the toughest periods for Saint-Saëns. He fell in love with Marie Laure Truffaut, who was only 19 years old, but he could not muster up enough courage to propose. Instead, Saint-Saëns sent a note to Marie's brother asking him if he wanted to be his brother-in-law. Fortunately, he accepted and the two got married in 1875. They had two sons, who sadly lost their lives in 1878. 6 weeks apart, one fell out the window, while other one drowned. Oddly enough, this sad period in his life led him to produce some of his most notable works, namely Danse Macabre, 1875, and Samson Delilah, 1878. He loved to travel. Because of his global fame, Saens got the rare opportunity to travel the world at a time when international transportation was not advanced as it is today. This was considered quite a feat, as Saens was able to tour every continent apart from Australia and Antarctica. On his travels, he developed an interest in North African countries, Egypt and Algeria, which inspired him to create Africa in 1891 and Piano Concerto No. 5 titled The Egyptian. In his later years, he opted to settle down in Algeria, which is where he eventually died. He was not afraid to speak out. Saens was often at loggerheads with other contemporary composers of the Romantic period. Notably, he did not get along with Vincent d'Indy and Claude Debussy. Debussy was an impressionist composer that did not understand the techniques of traditional composers such as Saens. The rivalry took form after Saens criticized Debussy's Prelude à Presse Médiune Faune, which was well reviewed after its debut. However, Saens spoke up against it, stating that it lacked logic, common sense, and style. When Debussy applied to join the Institut de France, Saens did everything he could to block his election. Needless to say, after this, the rivalry lasted for years. The Carnival of the Animals was a joke. Saens wrote his celebrated Carnival of the Animals as a complete joke. Saens was known as a serious man, and he did not want to be associated with the composition because it was not as somber as his other symphonic works. Shortly after it premiered, Saens made it clear that he did not want the complete collection of pieces to be performed. He only allowed a single movement, Les Cygnes de Swan, which was written for cello and piano to be published in his lifetime. It was until his passing that it received its first public performance in 1922 by Concerts Cologne. Number 8, facts. He was the first to write for film. In 1908, Saens became the first musician to write a score for a film. He wrote the score for an 18-minute-long motion picture titled The Assassination of the Duke of Guise. later developed his music into a concert performance that has been performed throughout the globe in different and unique ways, from full orchestral scores to piano solos and choreographed dance performances. He was a Renaissance man. Saint Saens was something of a Renaissance man whose intelligence and brilliance was not just restricted to music. He was interested in botany, mathematics, and geology. He was also a popular writer of essays, poems, and reviews. And number 10, Babe. 1995, Saint Saens' composition Symphony No. 3 was used for the melody of the song If I Had Words. If I Had Words was created for the 1995 movie Babe. So, yun po yung life and music ni Saint Saens. So, yun lang po today. And, bye!